These are the most disturbing crimes that happen in the Hazbin hotel community, and as the video proceeds, things go from concerning to straight up horrifying. Hazbin Hotel is an adult animated musical comedy about the princess of hell who tries to rehabilitate demons instead of having them exterminated. And when the pilot of the show dropped on October 28, 2019, it became a viral sensation for so many reasons. One was the exceptional storytelling, and then there was the bright cartoonish visuals and catchy songs. The one problem was, those same features gave it the appearance of a show younger audiences can also enjoy, even though it was purely intended for adults due to its explicit content. Now by January 2024, the show was released fully on Amazon Prime and rated 16+. The age rating wasn't really effective in restricting the show to only older people though. In several online discussions, many fans of the show confirmed how young they were when they started watching the show and how young they still are presently. A viewer wrote on social media, "Bro, I started to watch Helluva and Brandon when I was 6. My sister used to watch Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel, and then I became obsessed with it, lol. I still am, but I love Brandon." Another person commented saying, "I'm concerned that you guys watched Helluva Boss and Brandon as kids. Like, was the swear words and adult jokes not an indicator?" But even with this concern, more young people came out to declare their ages, with all of them being below their teenage years. This prompted a post from a Reddit user named National Manor in the child-free subreddit, which is a forum for people who do not want to have children, saying, "I recently got into Hazbin Hotel, and I won't lie, I really do quite enjoy it, but I'm extremely hesitant to get involved with the fandom in any capacity, and that's because of, you guessed it, the abundance of younger humans in what's supposed to be an adult-only space. Now the idea of people not age-filtering adult spaces or watching shows above their maturity level is nothing new. Something that is also nothing new is parents going, it's animated, it must be for and doing no further research, and then blaming the media when they discover that it's in fact not made for them." He then continued by addressing the parents, saying, "But here's the thing I frequently observe with Helluva's parents. They are aware it's not for that it contains extremely mature content and very heavy themes that people under a certain age do not yet have the self-awareness and or nuance to properly grasp and understand. Instead of having an appropriate and private discussion about such things with their parents instead don't give a about how their will respond to being exposed to those mature themes. They take on the attitude of, oh, we're such cool parents for letting our watch adult stuff, our are so mature for their age. In fact, they're so mature that it's totally fine if they go into adult spaces and talk to the adult fans of this adult show." And he wasn't lying, as some parents have actually been found putting their offsprings in cosplay of Hazbin Hotel characters, despite knowing what the show is about. It became even worse in July 2020, when an original soundtrack of the series titled Addict was released. The song was centered around substance addiction and intimate violence, but even with the message it passes, the song kickstarted a viral trend on TikTok, involving extremely young humans who performed dances to the lyrics. Then on May 25, 2024, fans of the show gathered at GalaxyCon in Oklahoma, and during a Hazbin Hotel question and answer panel session, a female kid took the microphone and asked the most unexpected question.
In episode 1, when you had to record the voice lines for the tape, were you ever embarrassed when you had to do the yes daddy and moaning?
In this awkward moment, one of the cast members had to ask where her parents were, and when she pointed at them, he turned in the direction and said, "Shame on you." Now by the end of the session, the actors and the team in general started to use their platforms to speak against bringing kids to the cons, including Vizipop, the creator of the show, who commented under a post showing another person not of age at a convention. "I can't stand it. I tried telling the cons to vet the questions / we asked them. I don't control the cons, and I can't do anything, but I've been trying. I don't hate kids, but I don't like them in an environment like panels. At least booths and meet and greets can be catered." A user on Reddit also posted under the GalaxyCon subreddit saying, "Vizipod, the creator and the voice actors have told the staff many times that they do not want at those panels, but the staff refuses to listen. Why? These shows are not from Animate and GalaxyCon really need to be held accountable. If they ignore the creator of shows that they are showcasing by having the actors there, they should get in trouble for allowing to be exposed to adult content. And yes, I know the parents are to blame too. I'm also very outspoken about parents who let them watch." But while it seems most parents were not interested in protecting their kids, one particular individual would take to the internet to share their concerns about the show. The parents, who we will call Max, asked this question on Quora when he heard about this show from his son, saying, "I overheard my son talking about something called Hazbin Hotel to his friends on Xbox. Whatever this is it appropriate for him?" Now immediately after he dropped the question, Poe, an AI assistant app from Quora, responded to him saying, "Hazbin Hotel is a turn-based tactical role-playing game with cartoonish, slightly grotesque visuals and dark humor. It's built around managing a group of disgraced former celebrities trying to regain fame by fighting through levels." Fortunately, other people also responded to Max and explained to him what Hazbin Hotel is, and how it's not actually suitable for people the age of his son. One user named Jerry Chiolino explained it properly, saying,
Hazbin Hotel is an adult animated show that is set in hell. It contains a lot of adult content, substance misuse, and profanity. One of the main supporting character, Angel Dust, is a gay adult actor star that is pretty much like the Hazbin Hotel version of Mr. Slave from South Park, who has an over-the-top stereotype of a submissive. In defense of his character though, much of his explicit acting out is due to years of trauma, though this is still not something that is a good idea for smaller humans to watch.
Now, even though there are discussions on various platforms about how unsafe the show actually is for kids, the series still has a large young audience in different parts of the world. But while this case is really concerning, the next case is worse, since it involves massive harassment.
You can love me and hate Valentino, because if you hate Valentino, that just means I did a good job.
It's January 19th, 2024. Hazbin Hotel, the animated series streaming on Amazon Prime Video, has just dropped its 4th episode titled Masquerade. For most viewers, it was a difficult but important 24 minutes, as they got to experience more of the relationship between the main characters Angel Dust and his boss Valentino, who is a controlling and abusive overlord. Throughout the show, Valentino constantly exploits Angel Dust through a soul contract that traps him in a cycle of physical and emotional harm. Now, the episode's centerpiece is a song titled Poison, with lyrics like
swallowing the glass
and
I'm addicted to the feeling even if it's killing me.
The song was designed to make the audience feel the full weight of Angel's suffering, but not in the way the creators intended. On March 20th, 2024, Joel Perez, the voice behind Valentino, posted a picture of a Streamily print on Twitter. For context, Streamily is a platform that allows fans to purchase life-size autographs from actors, voice actors, and creators. In this case, the print posted by Joel was a signed piece of art featuring Valentino and Angel Dust side by side. Now, the art clearly showed the violent nature of the relationship between the two characters, as depicted in the show. However, certain members of the fandom believed that signing the art meant that Joel endorsed the kind of violence portrayed in the actual show. So this made Joel a target, and he soon started getting harassed online, with fans posting tweets like this one, which read,
I'm so thankful that I saw your #Hazbin Hotel, #GalaxyCon Richmond Q&A panel at home, and thank you for not hurting me like how #Valentino is violent since episode 4.
To which Joel responded saying,
I'd like to make it abundantly clear that I, Joel Perez, I'm an actor, and Hazbin Hotel is not a documentary. I've also played characters that are nice and silly, and complex and loving, and terrible, and on and on and on. It's called range.
Now, although Joel tried to draw a clear line between himself and the role he played, the fans who'd already made up their minds weren't interested in that distinction. Instead, they argued that the fact that Joel agreed to voice the character, enjoy the role, or sell merchandise featuring him means that Joel was romanticizing the very violence that the show had explicitly set out to critique. Now, most of the tweets attacking Joel had been deleted, but a few of them have been preserved on Reddit, giving us a glimpse of how serious the criticism actually was.
Bruh, I got threats just because they have the same name as the guy. That's insane.
Now, this continued to get worse, so much so that some tagged Joel to every Valentino hate thread online, forcing him to make another post saying,
please don't tag me in your Valentino hot takes. I'm not interested in debating who's more evil or less evil based on your subjective opinions of good versus evil. I'm just doing my job.
However, while some fans directed hate towards him, some still continued to love and support him as an actor. In March 2024, Joel made a post on his Instagram story talking about how he felt loved at the just concluded webcom, while hinting at the situation again, saying,
And I want to say a special shout out to the real ones, the ones who know how to separate fact from fiction.
Now, the video made a cosplayer named Octolady share her experience on Twitter, stating how the hatred for Valentino has even been extended to cosplayers.
I was with my friend at the convention. I saw 2 young females standing behind me. I don't understand right away, and suddenly they start screaming, Valentino, leave Angel alone, 2 or 3 times before giggling with their laughter. Then while laughing, they said to me, so can we take a photo? I just didn't know what to say, so I mechanically answered yes. They apologized, but the kind of apology that looks like a sorry, eh?
Now, after that incident, Octolady met an Angel Dust cosplayer, who accompanied Octolady and her friend for the rest of the day. Now, Octolady claimed that she felt safe with her around because people thought they were a duo, but what she didn't know at the time was that this would lead to an even bigger harassment case.
We just waited in line to eat. I'm not drawing you a picture. You know what conventions are like. We had posed for an hour for photos. I just had to slap. So the 3 of us sat down quietly to eat. I was trying to open my food when a guy who I don't know came out of nowhere and pointed a gun at me. I didn't know it was a Nerf, a water gun, a retort. Out of reflex and fear, I lowered my head. The guy started shooting at me. I could only hear the clicks of his gun, and he stopped. My friend and Angel pointed out to him that it was not great, and the guy said, I needed to let off some steam. Don't touch Angel.
By April 2024, the harassment had evolved into something more organized. Fans started putting one another through loyalty tests by watching out for those who don't publicly condemn Joel and Hazbin Hotel generally, adding them to a public blacklist. Some even went as far as creating a blocklist Google Doc that lists over 500 people and added a caption that reads,
Hello critical community. Even though I'm busy with my SAT preparation, I've managed to make a list of over 500 Vivzy stands who blog and report. Feel free to ask me to add people, but please include proof. All the people here were explicitly reposting Hazbin/Helava content.
Now this led to a number of artists, fans, and creators exiting the fandom, tired of being lectured about morality, and by the end of the summer of 2024, the hostility had spread to convention floors as well. For years, the cosplay is not consent movement, which emphasizes that wearing a costume is not an invitation for harassment, has helped maintain safety at fan events. But in 2024, things changed for the worse. At Fan Expo Boston in mid-June 2024, Valentino cosplayers were said to be getting cornered in hallways, strangers screaming slurs at them and physically blocking exits, and shoving them into walls. On Reddit, another cosplayer was told,
"Nothing personal, but I would punch in the face with that costume."
Others were recorded without their knowledge or permission and then posted publicly, and this continued until the end of 2024, where Joel responded to trolls once again, saying,
"Please channel your performative rage and disgust into helping people in the real world."
At this point, Vivzy Pop had to respond as well, saying,
"I can't believe we still have to be saying this, but Valentino isn't real. People can enjoy characters who do horrible things. Fiction is escape. Fiction isn't reality. If you cannot grasp that, you don't have the maturity to engage with media, and especially the real people involved in making media."
Now eventually the hate drove Joel Perez out of Twitter, as he was tired of constantly explaining himself. Now as insane as Joel's harassment was, the next case is even more disturbing, since it involves cosplayers taking things too far. Every story has a hero and a villain, but some characters defy both roles, like Alistair, a charming yet dangerous demon whose motives answer to no one's morals or goals. Shortly after survival in hell, he dismantled established sinners with his incredibly raw power, and at the same time helps Charlie Morningstar with her hotel, just because he wanted to watch the residents fail. Now many fans of the series find Alistair dangerously entertaining, which is why a lot of them cosplay as the character. Now at events like Fan Expo Boston, which is a convention that brings lovers of sci-fi, anime, and others together, fans would often appear dressed up in their favorite character. Now some of these cosplayers do not only look like the characters, but also act like them. However, during Fan Expo Boston 2024, some Alistair cosplayers decided to ruin the experience for the other attendees. According to one of the people who were in attendance, some of whom shared their experience on Reddit, there was a group of 3 Alistair cosplayers who painted their faces, arms, and every exposed part of their bodies black. Now it appears that they all knew each other and that they all planned the stunt, but while it wasn't clear why they did that, the other cosplayers were very uncomfortable with their appearances, as they were essentially portraying blackface, which is considered offensive and racist. Now multiple Hazbin cosplayers reported them to the staff, asking that they either be told to remove their makeup or asked to leave, but the staff didn't take them seriously, accusing them of overreacting. Now many fans believe that the painting was done intentionally as a rage bait, especially since Alistair isn't even portrayed as a black person, but as a grey-skinned character. Now at the end of the day though, no action was ever taken concerning these cosplayers, but the next case is even more troubling since it involves a creator getting exposed for being a horrible individual.
What did you just say? Have sexual love with my dad.
On the 2nd of April 2019, an anonymous user on the gossip site lolcow posted disturbing information about a certain cosplayer named Aures Cosplay, saying,
"Openly racist 22-year-old cosplayer from New York that frequently gets into drama with the cosplay community and is extremely delusional. Used to go on tirades on Twitter about how she hated Mexicans, and now has her father take mature pictures of her cosplaying young characters in her backyard."
Now as more people commented under the post, it became apparent that those were not baseless allegations, and that Aures was new to getting into controversies. Aures Cosplay, whose real name is Kelly Cunningham, is best known on TikTok for her Hazbin Hotel and Legend of Zelda cosplays. Now while Hazbin Hotel started only about 7 years ago, Auris's earliest cosplay dates back to August 24th, 2011, where she cosplayed the character Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist. And now a casual scroll through her social media pages show her also cosplaying other characters like Princess Zelda, Kairi from Kingdom Hearts, Princess Bubblegum, and even Wednesday Addams. However, over the years, her costumes changed, and soon she started adding more mature elements to the characters she portrayed. Now though cosplaying characters in NSFW scenes is nothing new to the community, Auris took things further by including characters who are way too young, like Shiro from the No Game No Life anime. Even worse, Auris announced her plans to cosplay another younger looking character named Kana from the anime Dragon Maid. In a Reddit post saying,
"Also, I thought I would never cosplay a young character again, because when I turned 20, I thought I would look too old. I might do Kana someday, because I found a makeup tutorial on how to look younger again."
Now from here, Auris started facing backlash from her followers on Twitter. She then responded to people calling her out with another strange picture of her cosplaying Shiro and captioned it,
"I don't understand what's wrong about cosplaying Shiro this way. She's old enough to start middle school, and she's portrayed the same in the anime. It could be worse. I could be doing adult cosplay for Kana from Dragon Maid who's younger."
Now she then took her opinion on the situation to Twitter, saying,
"How is adding mature elements to characters who are not of age a bad thing if they don't exist?"
Now another user replied to her saying,
"It's all because they're younger humans."
and so Auris said,
"I wouldn't care if someone viewed me inappropriately if I was still in high school."
Now from here, Auris went ahead to make another weird post on DeviantArt about a smaller character from a different show named Ochako Urakaka, saying,
"I'm portraying Ochako Urakaka on a hotel bed, and the same goes for other anime female smaller humans. innocence. I'm not sorry. Young people are not innocent. As a smaller human at the time, I hated being with people not of age in my school because they would constantly trigger me and they were all annoyed. I hated smaller humans, and to this day, even when I myself was a young person.
But this isn't the worst thing Oris ever did. In the lolcow post mentioned earlier, there were racism accusations against her, along with some screenshots of racist tweets towards Hispanic and black people from 2 of her Twitter accounts. In one of her tweets from 2017, Oris tweeted,
"Black people are very violent to their young ones. They like to watch reality TV and Tyler Perry. I tried to hide being racist, but now I'm pissed."
Not only did this post show her dislike for black people, but she openly admitted to being racist by proclaiming her hatred for Mexicans. For example, on November 25th, 2017, she tweeted about the Mexican animated series titled Coco, saying,
"Coco was just meant for filthy Mexicans. I look forward to your hate mail and calling me racist because I do hate Mexicans. All this time I've been hiding that I'm racist, but sometimes I just want to tell the truth on how I feel about people. My friend's the white Hispanic, but that doesn't mean I should care about other Hispanics."
Now funnily enough, even the friend she referenced wasn't immune to what she was doing to her race. As she said in a tweet on November 26, 2017,
"The reason I don't care if my friend Gianna, who's Hispanic, is because she looks white and can fit in easily. But I do think she should be ashamed of what nationality she is. If I was, say, a white Mexican and found that out, I would flip out."
Although people tried to call her out for being harsh towards other races, she would just double down every time. An example is an Instagram DM screenshot shared on lolcow, where a user named Gardner7eve is seen calling out Oris for attacking Latinos.
"Lamau, I just wanted to let you know that telling someone to take themselves out of this world isn't okay, and then calling Latinos filthy and Mexicans dirty is downright racist and disgusting. Maybe you should check yourself before you read yourself, because no one is going to stand by while you offend an entire nationality SMH."
But Oris responded,
"Not my problem. I don't like Mexicans. I told that person to check themselves out of this world because they called me a racist person again, and they deserve it. People who are mean to me deserve to leave this world. You don't like Mexicans? But why? Not one entire race of people are the same. Yes, they are."
Now the backlash would eventually die down over time, but once she noticed that everyone had moved on, she tried to bring up the issue again by tweeting,
"Is everyone off my hate train now? Well, that was fun, pissing off filthy Mexicans."
And in February 2018, she also made reference to the time she was receiving negative reactions by saying,
"And I liked it better when people hated me for insulting Coco, and it was laughable. They were all filthy Latinos frowning at me."
Now in the same year, Oris decided to post a throwback cosplay picture of herself where she cosplayed Starfire, a character from the show Teen Titans, whose skin color she changed. She then captioned the post,
"I thought orange face paint would look too silly because I saw how it looked on other Starfires, so I used an orange tan body paint but wanted the skin tone to be more realistic than a basic orange. It's not racist to tan yourself for a character who's an alien with tan orange skin."
Now beyond her post, she also revealed her racism in a DM after a black woman left a negative comment on her cosplay preparation post saying,
"I'm gonna be real with you, it looks raggedy as hell."
Oris then responded saying,
"No, it doesn't, you N-word. You said my makeup on my Raven video was not good enough, and I know exactly what you are doing, insulting me just to make yourself feel better, and I'm getting back at you."
And what seems like Oris only has hatred for some races, it soon became apparent that her own mother wasn't safe from her verbal attacks. Oris has a lot of tweets about her mother, ranging from mild to brutal. In one tweet from May 2017, Oris talked about how her mother had always been mean to her, saying,
"My mom always makes fun of my weight. I can't make this up.
And
my mom's been calling me fat and make me feel bad about myself ever since I gained 50 pounds. She doesn't deserve Mother's Day."
And she then followed it up by saying,
"Mother's Day is rubbish. I always give my mom the worst Mother's Day because she doesn't deserve me."
Now initially, the only reason Oris stated for disliking her mother was fat shaming, but the more she tweeted, the more it became obvious that it went deeper than that. On June 18, 2018, Oris came online to say,
"I only had an hour with my dad on Father's Day because my mom's such a selfish person that she keeps taking him out places when yesterday should have been about me and him."
Now speaking of Oris's father, he actually wasn't a stranger to his daughter's TikTok fans. The two are known to cosplay different characters together, and usually they cosplay characters who are shit by fans. For example, on Oris's DeviantArt, she can be seen with her father cosplaying Angel Dust and Husk. In other instances, the father and daughter duo cosplay characters they would like ship together. This is confirmed in a tweet where Oris shared an excerpt from one of her DeviantArt posts that says,
"My dad's cosplaying with me as Aizawa from My Hero Academia with my Froppy cosplay because we love them shipped together."
In the same post, she also said,
"He's also going to cosplay Zan with me as Midna from Twilight Princess. We might ship Zan and Midna too, but I'm not sure yet, even though I've never seen a fan of Zan and Midna being shipped as a couple. I'm more of a Link and Midna shipper, but I can see Midna being Zan's literal intimacy slave though."
And it wasn't just their choice of characters that was problematic, but their relationship as a whole. This is because on November 2nd, 2019, Oris posted on Twitter about her dad saying,
"My dad's been touching me since I was young, ever since. I've been so confused about our dynamic, and when I grew a bit older, I started pretending he was my prince/lover. I'm glad I have Rachel to talk to when I feel mistreated or upset."
Now another tweet made on the same day says,
"Me and my dad had a fight because I didn't want to play with him. He got so mad that I got upset and said I'm finding a different house to stay at. I walked to Rachel's apartment and told her what happened. At times when I feel like a victim, I have Rachel."
Now while this was very alarming, the situation became even more disturbing when Oris shared more details about her weird relationship with her father on an IG live.
What did you just say? Have sexual love on my my dad.
Aside from what she said on this live on April 4th, 2019, Oris posted a picture of herself without clothes on Twitter and sparked a whole new controversy. A user named Anzu asked her why she posted herself that way, and she replied,
I want to backlash on Twitter to see if I can handle it. You're stupid. That's what you are. Who took these photos in the first place? My dad.
And just by looking at the dad's social media posts, it was obvious that he also enjoyed the weird interactions he had with his own daughter. As one of his posts on Instagram includes an unsettling caption that read,
Cosplays for 2020 along with Aura's cosplay, as well as what we'll do together on TikTok. I have some ideas to ship Tsuyu Azui with her in my Aizawa cosplay, as well as doing Zand with her as Midna, portraying her as a slave, seen in one of the slides. Kelly showed me the game Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, and I can imagine Midna being a victim by Zand. He usurped her throne, transformed her, then tried to kill her. Anyway, I hope you look forward to my cosplays with my daughter.
But after she started getting called out for it, she claimed that everything she said about being romantically involved with her father was actually false, and that she just wanted to see if she could handle the backlash. Now around this time, she also decided to defend herself from the backlash she was getting for cosplaying young characters by tweeting,
The reason I recently acted inappropriately as young people through cosplay is because I have autism and I can't control myself sometimes. And the other reason being is that the last year I gained a following on Instagram and I seem to have recently let that go to my head.
However, the damage was already done, and people would constantly bring it up in all of her future posts, even making fun of her by making flyers, quoting the same words she used to profess her love for her father. But as disturbing as this was, it's nothing compared to what she's done with her younger audience on the internet. Some fans claimed that Oris had once said that she had a crush on one of her younger brother's friends named Sam, and she confirmed that she had felt this way since they were young, even though they have a huge age gap themselves. And when a streamer named Femios confronted Oris about it during a live stream on February 9th, 2024, Oris responded by saying,
Because it turns out he's gay, he's not attracted to me, and it doesn't matter now because I actually have a boyfriend who lives in Florida.
On the same interview, Oris admitted to sending photos of herself to her young fans, and then she defended herself again in the most absurd way.
So you sent to because they apparently offered you money?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Now after this video went viral in 2024, Oris changed her YouTube channel name to the Cosplaying R-Word and wrote a community message that reads,
I'm done being a R-word, an autistic freak show R-word. Starting today, I'm shutting up so I can try to be normal like other people, unlike after all this time.
But even though she promised to be silent, Oris remains on the internet and still constantly attacks one group of people or the other and gets called out for it. But while this case was really disturbing, the next case is worse, since it involves a creator taking advantage of her own workers.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Vivienne the trust fund baby? I thought not.
Now while VivziePop takes the accolades for creating a great animation, some people work behind the scenes to actually make everything a success. Some of them are storyboard artists who turn the script into a visual plan for a show. And in the case of Hazbin Hotel, one of the storyboard artists is known as Raphael, commonly called R2 Ninja Turtle, or Raph for short. Now as much as Raph is known for great storyboards, back in 2023, he found himself in a serious controversy. On December 10th, 2023, a Twitter user named Stay Queen made a post about Raph, accusing him of making questionable art about Valentino and Angel Dust, like this NSFW artwork which was posted by Raph on Twitter on April 20th, 2021. Now she also included a screenshot of a tweet that was made by another user on November 20th, a year later. The tweet contained another NSFW depiction of Valentino and Angel, where Valentino threatened to brutally attack Angel intimately. And to this, Raph commented,
Thank you for having the courage to draw something mean between these two. I've been so bored.
And when a user called him out for it, he replied saying,
Yeah, and it's an intimate attack ship, not a PD ship. Get it right.
Now to crown it all, Stay Queen mentioned that since the callout began, some fans have been defending Raph, claiming that his NSFW art about Valentino and Angel are probably because he's a victim of intimate violence himself and that he uses art to vent. But Raph himself would later come out to debunk this claim. In a tweet posted on September 9th, 2022, Raph said,
I want to shout out all the people who responded to my RT. You're all superheroes and I admire each and every one of you. I'm not a victim of intimate violence myself, but I've dealt with years of repression and being controlled. Don't ever let anybody tell you how to cope.
Now by January 2024, real-time survivors of SA started reaching out to VivziePop directly, expressing that they were uncomfortable knowing someone with that type of weird fantasy had been brought onto her team to storyboard content involving those exact themes. And to this, VivziePop simply responded by saying,
If you support SA survivors, you need to support all survivors, not just people who process their trauma like you or like you'd expect them to. Everyone is different and that's valid.
Now one user then commented pointing out flaws in her response.
That's crazy because the entire debate isn't even about whether or not victims of intimate attacks are valid or not. It's about how you're allowing someone who's into non-con weird fantasy art to work on your show, even if they're a victim of intimate violence. Silly little fact is, not all coping mechanisms are good ones. For example, some people consider hurting themselves themselves a coping mechanism. Does that make it a good one? No. And posting art depicting non-consensual intimacy because it's their weird fantasy isn't a good coping mechanism. Crazy, I know.
Now in response, VivziePop simply doubled down though, saying,
I just don't think you have any right to judge someone's way of coping with trauma when it literally is harming no one. The internet is not a safe place in regards to seeing things that make you uncomfortable. If you think upsetting art existing is the same as someone hurting themselves, we literally do not see the world the same.
Now the next day, an actual survivor named True Luna Sun responded to VivziePop, saying,
the person you had do the scenes isn't a survivor and even has weird fantasies related to said topics. It's pretty distasteful, and if you actually cared about survivors depicting their struggles through art, you would have an actual survivor do those scenes. Good luck.
Now as the thread went on, more survivors and concerned commenters pushed back, even going to VivziePop's Instagram comment section. And there, she made a long thread of response, saying,
that's not all you're asking for. You want them fired. And if I had to fire every artist who shipped or was into something like this, it would be insanely unethical to enforce. I don't share what certain people like or ship, but I'll never shame them for something that is fiction. Also, it's really too late to say you're not starting beef. You've been very rude in your word, and this is the first reply that feels remotely civil.
She then continued by saying,
I tried to talk to you, but you avoided what I had to say because you don't really actually care, and you just want to hear yourself talk. It's run its course, so yep, enjoy the blog. You earned it being a brick wall. Go back to Twitter, where your echo chamber will make you feel better about shaming other survivors cause cartoon lady cringe. Because weird fantasies are personal and do not harm. Because I know this person and know it's purely a weird fantasy. Because they're an adult worker who practices BDSM, which is a culture I respect and deals with a lot of these kinds of fantasies. Because it doesn't affect the show or anyone else working on it. Because it involves fictional characters and not real people. Because a lot.
Now, although it isn't clear who VivziePop was referring to, her comment showed that it was probably one of those she already talked to on Twitter. Now at this point, VivziePop hadn't found out that her lies about Raph had been caught by the majority, until another user called her out directly by saying,
bold of you to accuse people of speaking over SA survivors when you straight up lied about Raph being one, as confirmed by Raph on Twitter, to cover your secret. Or he did experience SA recently, but didn't talk about it on social media, and you just outed someone's trauma without their consent, which is even worse. Either way, the jig is up, my guy. No running off to a different platform will change the fact that you're a bad person, and that more and more people are becoming aware of it.
Now after this, VivziePop tried to flip the card on concerned commenters by implying that they do not actually care about the survivors, saying,
the hoops you go through to make me out as a bad person when you're the ones shaming and speaking over victims of trauma for not responding the right way. Even now, making these two scenarios where I'm bad just so you don't self-reflect for 2 seconds. Just accept this situation isn't a big deal, and it's a stupid thing to be circling around before a cartoon scene is even out.
Now while the backlash continued over the next few days, it soon died down as people started to move on. But that was until one user, Maxi Master Shush, dropped another disturbing revelation.
Kinda ironic and hypocritical because you literally made a scene that Serpentius gets dragged by a group of demons to get intimately attacked by all of them, and you thought it was funny and made it for laughs. Keep in mind you based it off of an ex-friend of yours who was indigenous.
Now this post went viral immediately, prompting several fans to start digging into VivziePop's old Twitter posts and interacting with other tweets. And not long afterwards, someone found a post by a fan of the show where they posted a clip of Serpentius getting dragged to be intimately attacked and captioned it,
best joke in the series.
And because you can actually easily see every liked post of a user on their profile page, fans saw that VivziePop had liked this post. They also saw artwork from 2012 that VivziePop drew when she was a 19-year-old, and this art shows a man being intimate with a snake in the bathtub, leading to accusations that VivziePop drew problematic content involving animals. Now as if all the drama wasn't bad enough, VivziePop soon became the headline of another major controversy, which also started on Twitter. On January 6, 2024, a Twitter user named Chai, who's a known critic of VivziePop, posted a Discord screenshot and captioned it,
green light to send this around has been given, and you'd better believe I'm not gonna do just that. Proof straight from Adam himself. Of Spindlehorse paying Hazbin animator $35 per second. That is slave wages. This is maltreatment.
Now the caption pretty much explained the content of the screenshot, but for context, Spindlehorse is an independent animation studio founded by VivziePop, and of course created Hazbin Hotel and other projects of VivziePop. And Adam is the production supervisor of the company, whose full name is Adam Nayland. Now the screenshot was taken from Spindlehorse's Discord server, and it shows Adam saying the rates would be $35 per 1 second of rough animation, with the opportunity to negotiate based on shot complexity and to earn more money down the line. Now this tweet quickly accumulated millions of views and led to more backlash for VivziePop and her studio. To this, Adam responded saying,
this job was voluntary. Nobody was being forced into taking less money. It was entirely something where we said, this is what we have to work with, and this is the project that we're working on, and if you want to take it, great, and if you don't, we understand, and we're willing to work to keep you employed and working on another project.
But at this point, the issue had already gone beyond what a single tweet could salvage, as a news outlet known as Passion Fruit had already started talking to current and former employees about the situation. Now most of the employees chose to be anonymous, out of fear of backlash from VivziePop and the fans of her work. However, this didn't stop them from sharing their experiences. One of the artists would go on to reveal that in the early days of Spindlehorse,
it was like the ragtag team of artists where we would all sit in Discord calls and joke with each other and talk and watch movies together.
But soon everything changed when the studio grew bigger. Another artist told the news outlet that they experienced difficulty in working for VivziePop, saying,
I put my best into this. I really wanted to do my best, but it wasn't enough because nothing would ever be enough for her.
While another said that they took the $35 because Hell of a Boss, another major project of VivziePop, was paused for Hazbin Hotel, so they had no time to look for another another source of income. They continued by saying,
"But the stress I went through to finish the shots, with such little pay and such little time, was not worth it in the end."
Now this controversy then brought attention to a 2022 case involving VivziePop and an animator who worked on Helluva Boss, named Erin Frost. Erin wrote in now deleted tweets and Tumblr posts how she had trouble with deadlines and how VivziePop gave her a hard time because of forcing her to resign. But after she came out with the story, the fandom called her a liar and told her to show them evidence of all her claims. And because no one believed her, Erin dropped the issue and stopped talking about it completely. However, just 1 month after she came forward, she came back on Twitter to say,
"Pretty tired of being told to bide my time and sit on my hands. So here it is. VivziePop sent her lawyer after me shortly after that first post I made months ago."
And attached to this post was the said letter, which accused Erin of breaking her confidentiality agreement and also claimed that she'd worked with another YouTuber at the time she was involved in the project, which was in violation of her work from home agreement. Now at the end of the day, nothing came out of it, according to Erin. But this bold move boosted the confidence of more people who came out to accuse VivziePop of one thing or the other. Now on May 9th, 2023, another artist named Ken Cook, popularly known as Ken Draws, posted on Twitter saying,
"I ended up compiling my experience with Vivs in a PDF for easy sharing. If you'd like to share it or spread it, I don't mind. I'm just tired of being quiet about this."
And in one of the screenshots in the attached file, VivziePop could be seen reaching out to Ken in 2017 to seek their help.
"Can I send you a dog and you can help me make it sound like not dumb? I'm not a good writer, lol. I'm just trying to type something simple up for my film's pitch bible. Sure thing."
And after this, VivziePop gave them instructions and Ken promised to deliver. Now Ken then mentioned that they didn't only help her with writing, but assisted with art as well. About the artworks, VivziePop would promise to credit Ken, but in the end, she would never actually fulfill this promise. And VivziePop would then go ahead to trace the art pieces Ken drew for her and use them like they were her original art. And at the time, Ken didn't really have a problem with VivziePop's actions, until they found out that she'd been stealing and repurposing their own concepts and characters. They chat with her. An example is the Hazbin Hotel character Serpentius, which Ken confronted her about.
"Hey, I don't want to make this awkward, but Serpentius doesn't have what I have for TF, right? With their heads, third eye showing their real emotions? Because I told you about that last year, and it's a major design element I'm super protective and proud of. If it bothers you, I can make it so it's more of a manifestation of his brain. It's always how I envisioned it, like it's more of an anthropomorphized version of his thoughts, rather than anything spiritual. Most of the time when I add that kind of element to a character, it's because there's tons of media that has done it, that I want to call back to. So I can assure you I didn't do something like this, because I got the idea from TF. I appreciate their characters and ideas have great significance and meaning, but that kind of concept and things like it have been done before too. But no, if it really bothers you to have it seem similar, I can assure you there's no spiritual third eye theme meant. It was just to additionally show a character who kind of has this public face, and this more insecure hidden face slash brain more outwardly in his design. It was intentional for different reasons. I think the only reason I'm a tad bit upset in the stress sense is just having an accusation. Well, it's supposed to be TF's actual thoughts and expressions. I'm not accusing you of taking it. I just assume maybe you forgot. I don't know, but I did tell you about it. I mean, it is kind of uncomfortable for me. It's very similar, but only the intention behind it. I'm not saying his intention has to change or anything like that. No, you did. I do remember, which is why it's stressful, because I really didn't mean to come off like I was intentionally trying to do something similar. Like I can promise you, it never crossed my mind.
Though despite the alleged theft that had just occurred, Ken still kept being friends with VivziePop. Now she would later come to them again for help about the plot and suggestions for the Hazbin Hotel, and Ken gave her a lot of ideas, characters, and jokes which she admitted were useful. But when she released a teaser on Twitter, Ken found out that she used most of their ideas, but never gave them any form of recognition. And after confronting her, she said,
"I credited my friends as writers because they were the ones who kinda actually banged out the script, formatted it, focused it a bit differently, kinda in a more classical way, like in the more business way. They contributed a ton, and the version I'd be working on with your help was kinda in the super early draft form. So it wasn't that it didn't matter to me, or that you didn't contribute writing. Then when I had a little team that kinda put the bones and meat on, I guess my mind just said, okay, these are the writers, you know?"
And after saying all of that, she apologized to Ken and they both moved on from it. But that didn't stop her from coming back to them for more ideas on the show, implementing them and still refusing to give them credit. And the next time Ken confronted her about it, she responded by saying,
"Oh well, it was just an update tweet, like, hey guys, it's happening sort of thing. I didn't credit Perry for cleanup or myself for the BG either. But that's fair. If you're expecting explicit credit for every single post, that I can keep in mind. It was just not something I was intentionally wanting to not credit you for."
Now Ken then responded saying,
"I think you should credit everyone who has a hand in it every time, because we're all in this together. If you just post it without that, people will think it's all you."
Now VivziePop then answered by saying that Ken should have just asked her for the recognition instead of assuming she didn't give them credit intentionally. And to this, Ken responded,
"You should jump on the opportunity to promote your friends' work and the things they're doing for your project, giving them the capability to get more work."
Now at this point, VivziePop got really mad at Ken and started blowing hot, saying,
"Ken, you're getting paid for this. Part of being in a production is that you're doing work for the production. The final project is what it is. You see Disney stating who did what in everything they post as a teaser or for promotion, which is what my tweet was. No. Yes, credit is always due, of course. Everyone's hard work is 100% meaningful to me every step of this. But for promotional stuff and posts, I have no obligation to spend half of the promotion crediting who did what. I get that you're struggling. I've already posted some of your boards. I've been boosting your work on the project to colleagues and everyone. So I don't understand where this hostility is coming from."
Now at the end of this conversation, Ken and VivziePop apologized once again to each other, and VivziePop promised to give them the recognition they deserve when the series finally gets released. But as soon as VivziePop started getting more popularity, Ken discovered that she started talking to them less. That was until March of 2020, when VivziePop reached out to Ken to sign paperwork to show that she didn't steal their work. Now after a long back and forth, Ken eventually signed it, unknown to them that this would become the start of their problem. They soon found out that VivziePop had been going behind their back to try and blacklist and also misgender them. Screenshots show VivziePop telling an anonymous person that Ken is an attacker and that they've refused to sign the contract. She also said,
Ken is 100% narcissistic, like 100,000%. It sucks because I've known someone like this for years, but I thought it was harmless. But now it's like, Jesus, why did I allow this person close to me and my project? And then I realized they've been taking advantage of me to love them and their work since I was a smaller human, and to feel like I needed them. I feel sick and angry at myself.
Now 4 months after VivziePop had this conversation with the anonymous person, Ken reached out to her, and this is what their conversation looked like.
Also, how have you been? Are you okay? I haven't heard from you in a couple of months and saw you unfollowed me from everything, so I suspected you might dislike me. If that's at all the case, I apologize for hitting you up at all. I just wanted to get your feedback on everything. I've been doing well. I don't dislike you. I just think I need space, and I'm sorry for that. But I think I've been going through a lot in life, and I'm just wanting to move on from a lot of things. But I don't wish you any bad, and I'm sorry if you felt like it was anything like overly negative. I think I'm putting a lot of my mental health stuff first and focusing more fully on work. But I hope you're doing okay too. Hey, no worries. I just wanted to be sure I didn't do anything extremely harmful. I think the wedding did a number on me, but I trust it wasn't intentional or anything. I've just been dealing with a lot. Yeah, I getcha. Well, if you at all want me to distance myself as well, just say the word and I'll give you your space. Thank you. I appreciate the understanding, and I do hope everything is going well.
Now, at the end of the document, Ken mentioned that they came forward because they wanted to bring attention to VivziePop's negative actions and also to help anyone else who may have been hurt by VivziePop understand that they aren't alone. Now, as the call-out talk spread deeper into the fandom, others who also had something to say about VivziePop came forward, but unfortunately most have been deleted by now. This big call-out, however, had no virtual effect on VivziePop's career, because by January 19, 2024, Hazbin's Hotel's first season premiered on Amazon Prime. But that wasn't the only release that happened on the same day, as the cast of the show also dropped a song on YouTube titled Thank You and Goodnight, a farewell song to announce that they've been removed from the show. In the description they wrote,
"This song has been a long time coming. We actually wrote it over a year ago when we, the pilot cast of Hazbin Hotel, found out we were being recast. However, we didn't release it out of respect for Vivian and the new A24 crew, as they hadn't made their official announcement yet."
Now it turns out that just before the show premiered, an entertainment company known as A24 took over and started shaking things up. Initially, the show featured Jill Harris as Charlie Morningstar, Michael Kovac as Angel Dust, Monica Franco as Vaggie, Edward Bosco as Alistair, and Mick Lauer as Huss. But after the change, Erica Henningsen became Charlie Morningstar, Blake Roman was cast as Angel Dust, Stephanie Beatrice, Vaggie, Amir Talai as Alistair, and Keith David as Huss. Now, even though the pilot cast made it clear that they had nothing but love and respect for VivziePop and the new crew, the fans didn't take it lightly, with one user tweeting,
"I'm going to be honest, I'm super uninterested in Hazbin Hotel. It's been years since the pilot dropped and all of the voice actors got replaced by bigger names. So all that lost momentum just culminated in the little guys getting screwed over by big name corporatism."
Another user went for VivziePop directly, saying,
"The fact that all the other BS VivziePop did to her staff, on top of recasting her whole lineup for Hazbin Hotel after her talented voice actors got her to where she is, just shows she's a bad person. The voices sound all wrong compared to the pilot."
But regardless of the backlash, the show went ahead to become a huge success. However, VivziePop never caught a break after this. She was constantly getting called out for one thing or the other. So much so that she eventually left Twitter altogether. And in her final post, she said,
"Guys, seriously, Twitter is a cesspool. Come over here, please. I'm so close to deleting that app. It would be so nice to still see you, but I just can't do it anymore."
Now, as unsettling as this case is, it's nothing compared to the next case, which involves a fan losing their life. Now, the release of the Hazbin Hotel pilot in 2019 came with a lot of excitement, so much that fans immediately created a fandom to support the project in every possible way. Now, these fans, who referred to themselves as the Old Guards, were responsible for reblogging/retweeting every post that promotes Hazbin Hotel and supporting VivziePop's projects. Now, after the excitement about the pilot release settled down, the Old Guards started pairing Alistair and Angel Dust together and named it the Radio Dust Chip. They also started drawing the two interacting in different scenarios and creating stories exploring different dynamics of them. Now, one of these dedicated fans who constantly promoted this ship online is a young queer individual who we will call Shay. Now, Shay is a big fan of VivziePop and all of her works, and was known to spend a lot of their money on an extensive collection of both Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss merchandise. They would also use their social media to reblog and like posts from other members of the fandom. However, in November 2023, Shay and the other Old Guards started having issues in a Discord server that was dedicated to the fandom, and it all started with the server being populated by new fans of the shows, who are called the New Guards. Now, as soon as the New Guards arrived, they decided to create a new ship between Husk, another Hazbin Hotel character, and Angel Dust. This new ship was called the Husker Dust ship, but while the old guards welcomed whatever ships the new guards introduced, the new guards decided to make the ships a competition, and soon some level of tension began rising in the community. According to some members of the server, the new guards said things like,
"Yeah, we're winning, stay delusional B-word, suck my lower private part, we thrive, woohoo, cry in a corner."
They also sent passive-aggressive memes directed at those in the Radio Dust side of the ship, resulting in disagreement and even bullying between server members. The harassment started getting to some of the old guards, especially Shay, who had allegedly suffered something similar around spring of 2023 on an undisclosed platform. So on December 9th, 2023, they decided to speak against the situation, mentioning how uneasy it made them feel because of their previous experience. But this didn't solve their problem in any way. Instead, it motivated the new guards to flock against Shay, making the harassment even worse. Now, after seeing the chaos unfold, the server's administrators immediately took over the situation and made sure that the members stopped attacking Shay. Now, a member of the server, who we will call Eden, was one of those who spoke in Shay's defense. And after the whole situation died down, Shay decided to reach out to Eden in the DM to thank him for taking their side in the server. Now, out of concern, Eden asked if Shay was alright, and this opened the door to another side of the situation.
Yes, this last year it became more and more oppressive. It's like you can't fully enjoy Hazbin without being a Husker Dust shipper. Honestly, I got that vibe too. I don't dislike them together though. I ship them, but this growing entitlement is grating my nerves as well. Yes, you said that, but like, I've been here since the live streams. There was Ashley, Michael, and Ed. That made everything fun, and I rooted for Viv because she was so sweet and kind and encouraged all ships. But now it just feels like it was all a lie, you know? Because why would you like and follow people that openly taunt and threaten other shippers on Twitter?
Now, though no specific account was mentioned, this message revealed that some of the fans took the bullying out of the Discord server to Twitter, and that VivziePop follows these people regardless. Now, Eden then confirmed that he'd also seen these posts, but he never thought VivziePop followed the accounts. And with this, Shay continued the conversation.
Follows and likes many of their posts, including the aggressive ones. Hold up, let me see. Are we talking about the same people? Like redacted, redacted, and redacted? I don't know who redacted is, but the others are right.
But as soon as Eden reacted to the revelation about VivziePop, Shay started defending her.
Why am I not surprised? Listen, Viv is a good person. I know she is. I've supported her for years, and she's kind and dedicated and loves her fans. Then why would she be following these people? It's almost like she's enabling this kind of behavior. I don't know, but it's not fair. She posted that shipping is fun and that anyone can do it, so I trust her.
Shay then added a link to VivziePop's tweet where she said,
"I'm seeing posts hinting that there's already ship bullying for Hazbin. The characters may all be canonly one certain way, but you should have fun shipping anything you want. Go nuts, and don't rag on someone for a non-canon ship or one you don't like. It's not hurting anyone."
Now after this, Eden didn't share sentiments concerning VivziePop any further. However, Shay went back to the initial conversation about the fandom's toxicity. At first it felt like a normal rant, but Eden later realized that the whole situation was affecting Shay more than the average person.
"I guess it just hurts. Like, I've got so much merch. I've donated for so many years. If the pictures you posted on the server are yours, damn, you do have a ton of merch. And I've hoped for this project to become a reality for so many years. But like, why do I feel like I'm being forgotten? Why do I have to be threatened by people I should be friends with? I get that, trust me, I get that so much. I've been in the same place years ago, in another fandom. It was almost nightmare-like how bad things had got before I react. I just feel like at this point I'm worthless. Maybe they're right, and we should all just pack up and leave."
Now Eden tried to calm Shay's nerves before the two ended the conversation that night, but just 2 days later, Shay was back in his DM to rant about how toxic the community had got.
"There's so much hatred towards shippers. Shallester fans were already chased away. Now Radio Dust fans, and I'm like, but why? It feels like every person who was a Honeycast fan is being shunned. I miss those times. Why can't we go back? I'm sorry, sweetie. I came to you because I felt like you were the only one that understood. If it weren't for you, I don't know. It felt like I was being cornered, shamed. I'm still shocked. I have nowhere else to turn to."
Now Eden assured Shay that they did nothing wrong, and that they could always come into his DM to talk anytime. But from there, Shay only spiraled.
"Then why is everyone yelling at me, calling me names, say that I don't belong, that there's no place for me? I wanted this show so bad. Was I wrong? Who's telling you this? Who are you talking to? Twitter. For God's sake, don't listen to that. Why is Viv allowing this? Why is this happening? Why am I the only one feeling like this?"
Now again, Eden tried to make Shay feel better by suggesting that they watch a movie together, but a few hours later, Shay was back talking about the fandom.
"This was my home. Why do I feel like I'm out of place? Why do I feel I was used and thrown away like a piece of garbage? It's okay, dearie. You're not a piece of garbage. You matter. I promise you do. Why does the word canon have to mean that nothing else matters? Why can't we just all coexist in peace? Why do we have to pick a side? Of course we don't have to. Neutral ground always exists. And this space is one. I'm not alone though. We're alone. We'll be gobbled down by the incoming show. Everything will change. There's no space for the old fandom anymore. Are you still on Twitter? Yes. Stop doing that. You're only hurting yourself this way. Why doesn't Viv say anything? What do I do now? How do you just forget what was your home for 4 years? I was happy. I wanted this to succeed. Why are old fans being targeted like this? Why is Viv giving them so much power? Okay, first of all, please stop responding to them. I mean it. Stop looking at these posts. Block those who are posting that. Please.
After this, Shay spiraled yet again, expressing feelings of self-blame and abandonment, and then ending the conversation with,
"There's no reason to be here anymore. They won. People like me don't belong here anymore. We've lost and we're shunned. It's over. All the fun, all the laughs and art and fanfiction and friendship. It's all gone. It's never coming back. I feel sick."
Now once again, Eden assured them that he'd always be around, and after this conversation, Shay left Eden's DM and went silent. Now on December 13, 2023, Hella person on Prime posted an image of Husk and Angel Dust and captioned it,
"Let the Husker Dust commentary begin."
Now this made the Husker Dust shippers pretty happy as they began to make posts insinuating that the ship is canon, meaning it's officially part of the story. Unfortunately, the post also triggered another uproar of aggressive commentary towards the Radio Dust side of the community. At this time, Eden became concerned about Shay and tried to check up on them in the DM, but strangely, he got a message saying he couldn't message Shay because they were no longer friends on Discord and that they do not share any server anymore. Now Eden then reached out to another member of the server who'd also been on good terms with Shay to ask about them, and this member, who we will call Mary, also tried to message Shay, but they couldn't get through either. However, on December 14th, 2023, Mary was able to speak to Shay's sister, who we will call Kim, through phone calls, and during their conversations, Kim then told Mary that after the online bullying became overwhelming, Shay attempted to take themselves out of this world on the night of December 13th, 2023, and that they were rushed to the hospital. And by the time they got to the hospital, Shay's case had become really serious, so much so that they had to be placed in urgent care. Subsequently, they were transferred to the intensive care unit, where they were placed in an induced coma. Now Kim also told Mary that Shay's family tried several times to reach out to VivziePop to plead for some sort of intervention on the ongoing bullying and harassment, but to this day, none of the email contacts responded. Now a few days later, Mary decided to check on Shay again and was informed that Shay had an emergency surgery due to gastrointestinal ruptures. Eden also never stopped checking with Mary to get updates on how Shay was doing. However, on December 28, 2023, Mary got a text from Kim informing her that Shay has unfortunately passed away between the nights of December 26th and 27th. Now because of the tragic manner of Shay's death, their friends and family decided not to talk about the incident publicly, which is why there isn't a lot of information surrounding her death. Every detail mentioned, however, was compiled into a Google Docs by another member of the fandom who felt the need to bring awareness to the situation and sought permission from everyone involved before doing so. Now after this release of this Google Docs, some concerned fans began to call the community and even VivziePop out, saying,
"Congratulations to the Hazbin Hotel fandom for becoming the most toxic of an animated show, surpassing Steven Universe by causing someone to take themselves out of this world just for a ship. The worst thing is that even the staff is involved. I hope you're happy for the bad thing you've created, VivziePop."
However, VivziePop would never respond to any of these callouts until around 2022, when she finally made a lengthy post to explain why following the troll accounts doesn't define who she is, saying,
"2 years ago, I was in the worst place of my entire life. It was a very intense political time for our country as well, and I was finding comfort in hearing perspectives from all sides, because I wanted to really see all sides to create my own opinions. I don't believe in living in a bubble, and I feel to make a stronger argument for your own opinions, you must attempt to understand the opposing side, so you can properly try to combat it. Back then, I didn't follow either of them on Twitter, so I didn't see the insensitive jokes they made. I didn't condone them at the time, and I do not now."
In the end, Shay was laid to rest, while her friends made a blog in her memory.